Hey, what's up everybody? This is Joshua Casper. I'm here with Plugin Boutique, and today we're taking a look at Sonivox Orchestral Companion Strings Edition. This is a great sounding string sample library. There's quite a few different strings inside of here. We've got the Ensemble, Violins, Violas, Cellos, and Contrabasses. There are also 5 different articulations for each one of those. And what I'm going to show you how to do is switch between these articulations inside of one piece of MIDI. And you can also apply this method if you're using a keyboard. You can switch between these articulations on the keyboard on the fly without having to go to a new instance of the VST. So let's just say I have this piece of MIDI right here, and I'm going to play it for you, and right around here it's going to start to sound really bad, and that's kind of on purpose because we're going to use the articulation changes to fix it. But let's just go ahead and listen to see what we have, see what we're working with. Okay, so that didn't sound too good right here, and that's because this part is really well suited for a staccato or a spiccato. So what I'm going to do is show you how to switch inside of this piece of MIDI clip without having to duplicate the VST or put in a new piece of MIDI. We can actually make those changes right inside of the MIDI clip. And the way we do that is we look at these notes next to each one of the articulations. So as we can see, the sustain has C -1, spiccato D -1, staccato C sharp -1, pizzicato D sharp -1, and tremolo E -1. So what I'm going to do is come into this piece of MIDI, and if I zoom out here, here's all the MIDI. And if I go down, you can actually go way down. I can go to C -1. And if I put in a piece of MIDI here, it's going to play as normal, and that's because that is the main articulation for the ensemble section that I'm using. But when I get to that middle part, if we zoom back up here, right here, I can actually change it to staccato or spiccato right inside of here. So let's go ahead and do that. And the way we do that is just add a short MIDI clip right there. And now when it goes from these sets of notes to these sets of notes, the articulation should change. And that's great. But what I actually want to do is put it on spiccato right there. So that's D -1, and I'm just going to move that up right now. And then I'm going to change the articulation to spiccato to end the piece. I think it sounds a little bit better that way. As you can see, this part right here, which is kind of those short notes, stops right here. So if I come down and drop that on C -1, or C sharp -1, and play the piece, now we should have a much better sounding piece, and all we had to do is add a couple of MIDI notes to change the articulation inside of the Sonivox VST. So let's go ahead and check it out now. And there we go. We've got 3 different articulations embedded in that one piece of MIDI. And if you're using a keyboard, this comes in really handy. You just slide your hand way down there, hit that C -1, and you're on sustain. And if you want to go to a staccato real quick, you just slide down and hit this C sharp -1, and then you're on a staccato without having to go through any different banks or anything like that. And this type of setup is really beneficial for someone like me who doesn't like to have multiple instances of VSTs, and for live performers. Anyway, I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.